My dear brothers and sisters, today I want to speak to you like a friend sitting beside you, someone who understands your fears, your hopes, your questions. And I want to begin with something simple, something human. Sometimes the world surprises us. Sometimes a victory happens that no one expected. And when it happens, we feel something move inside our hearts, a feeling that tells us there is more going on here than politics. There is something deeper, something spiritual, something written long before the votes were counted. When many people saw ZOHRAN Mamdani rise, when they saw a young Muslim, a child of immigrants, someone with a heart for justice, win in a place where such a victory seemed almost impossible, people asked, how did this happen? But believers ask a different question. We ask, what was Allah showing us through this moment? Because victories are never just victories. They are signs. They are reminders that Allah opens doors no one knew existed. And today, I want to talk to you about the Islamic secrets behind this moment. Not political secrets, not strategies, not campaign tactics, but the secrets of the unseen, the secrets of the heart, the secrets that every believer needs to remember when life feels heavy, when the world feels unfair, when the future feels uncertain. You see, when Allah wants to show His power, He does not always choose the strongest armies, the richest people, the loudest voices. Many times He chooses the ones who walk quietly, the ones who carry sincerity in their chests, the ones who stand firm in truth even when the world tries to bend them. And this is something our elders always taught us, something simple but deeply true. When Allah wants something to reach you, it will reach you, even if the whole world tries to stop it. Zohran's journey is not just a political story, it is a reminder of this principle. A reminder that dignity comes from Allah, honor comes from Allah. And when Allah gives a person qabul, acceptance, you see hearts turning toward them in ways that cannot be explained by money or power. You see people from different backgrounds, different struggles, different stories coming together because something in their hearts recognizes sincerity, recognizes compassion, recognizes courage. I want you to imagine this for a moment, a young man with a name many people can't pronounce, with roots from 3 continents, standing in front of a city that has known pain, pressure, and division, and yet people chose him. Why? Yes, he worked hard. Yes, he fought for justice. Yes, he spoke for the oppressed. But there is something else, something you and I both know, something that cannot be put in a campaign speech. It is the invisible help of Allah. And this is the first secret I want to share with you. Victory does not begin in the world. It begins in the unseen. It begins when a person's intentions are sincere, when they choose truth, even when it is costly, when they stand for people who cannot stand for themselves. Allah takes that sincerity and He writes it in places human beings cannot reach, in hearts, in destiny, in the flow of events. And this is why we need to pause and reflect, because this is not just about a politician. This is about us, about our families, our children, our fears, our hopes, about every moment when we felt small, powerless, unheard, and we forgot that Allah can lift the smallest voice above the loudest noise. My dear friend, many Muslims feel invisible. They feel misunderstood. They feel like their faith is something they must hide or soften or apologize for. But Allah shows us moments like this to remind us, I see you. I have always seen you. And He shows us that dignity in Islam is not tied to wealth or position or popularity. It is tied to the heart. And when the heart is upright, Allah elevates the person, sometimes in ways that shock the world. Another secret is this: Allah uses people as mirrors for society. When someone rises, when someone unexpected takes a place of leadership, it reflects something shifting in the hearts of the people. It shows a hunger for justice, for compassion, for moral courage. It shows that people are tired of fear-based politics. It shows that people are ready to listen to a voice that speaks to their conscience. And this is something powerful, because as Muslims, we believe that Allah turns hearts as easily as He turns the night into morning. Hearts are not locked. Societies are not fixed. And moments like this prove that change does not always come slowly. Sometimes it comes suddenly, like rain falling in a desert. But perhaps the deepest secret is this: Allah places barakah, blessing, in the paths of those who serve creation. When a person serves people sincerely, Allah opens ways for them. And when a person stands beside those who are forgotten, Allah stands beside them. This is the sunnah of Allah in His creation. So when people ask, how did this victory happen? The believer smiles gently and says, because Allah wanted it. And that answer is not simple. it is profound. It does not erase the work, the effort, the struggle. But it reminds us that effort alone does not guarantee success. Success is a gift, and Allah gives it to whom He wills. But my dear listener, this is not just a story to admire, it is a story to learn from. Because the real question is not how did he win, but what does Allah want us to learn from it? Maybe He wants us to stop doubting our place in this world. Maybe He wants us to stop shrinking, stop apologizing, stop thinking our faith makes us less worthy. Maybe He wants us to walk with our heads higher, not out of arrogance, but out of gratitude. Or maybe He wants us to remember that when we stand for what is right, even if our voice shakes, He will support us in ways we never imagined. And maybe, just maybe, Allah wants to remind us that every community needs courage. Every generation needs someone who stands up. Every moment in history has its tests and its heroes. And as we move into the next part of this journey together, we will explore the deeper lessons, the spiritual patterns that Allah shows us through victories like this, the emotional truths that can strengthen our hearts, and the ways we can bring these lessons into our own lives, our families, our faith, and our future, inshallah. And as we move forward, my dear brothers and sisters, I want to bring your heart a little closer. I want you to imagine something with me. Think of a moment in your life when you felt small, when you felt like the world was too big, too loud, too heavy. Maybe it was at work, maybe in your home, maybe in your own thoughts, a moment when you wondered if your voice mattered at all, if anything you said or did would ever make a difference. Hold that memory gently for a moment. Because the truth is, every one of us has felt that way. Even the strongest among us, even the people who look confident on the outside, even the ones who seem fearless. Inside, they too have those nights when they whisper to Allah, Ya Allah, help me. I don't know if I can do this. And that is why the story we began with matters. Because when Allah lifts someone who once felt small, it is also a sign for you. It is a message from the one who created your heart, saying, I can lift you too. My dear friend, don't think for a moment that Allah's help is reserved for a few special people. Allah's help is for anyone who turns to Him, anyone who tries, anyone who holds on to truth, even when it is shaking in their hands. Sometimes Allah shows us a public victory so that we can find private hope, so that we can look at our own fears and say, maybe I am not as powerless as I think. Maybe Allah has written something for me too. And I want you to breathe that in for a second. Because we live in a time when so many people are losing hope. So many people feel unseen. So many are tired. Tired in their bodies, tired in their hearts, tired in their souls. And moments like the one we're talking about, they shake us awake. They remind us that the world is not controlled by the powerful. It is controlled by the most powerful. Politics doesn't decide destiny. Polls don't decide destiny. Public opinion doesn't decide destiny. Allah does. And when you remember that, something inside you becomes calmer, steadier, stronger. One of the Islamic secrets behind moments like this is so simple, yet so deep. Allah honors the one who honors His creation. When you lift others, Allah lifts you. When you sit with the lonely, when you defend the weak, when you speak for those who have no voice, Allah places something in your heart, a light that other people can feel even if they don't know why. And that light becomes a form of acceptance, a form of protection, a form of help that comes at just the right time. Think for a moment about the people you truly admire. It is not the ones who shout the loudest, not the ones who show off, not the ones who pretend to be perfect. You admire the ones who carry sincerity. You admire the ones who care. You admire the ones who do good quietly without expecting applause. And this is why victories born from sincerity feel different. They feel cleaner, softer, more meaningful, because they remind us of Allah's way, that quiet goodness can win. But here is another secret I want you to hold close to your heart. Sometimes Allah delays a victory until the person is ready for it. And sometimes He brings it quickly because there are lessons for the people watching, lessons for the community, lessons for the world. Some victories are for the one who receives them, but some victories are for everyone else. Maybe Allah wanted Muslim youth to feel proud again. Maybe He wanted Muslim women, mothers, daughters, sisters, to feel their voice matters in this society. Maybe He wanted to show immigrant families that their sacrifices were not in vain. Maybe He wanted to send a message to the whole world that your name, your faith, your skin color, none of it can stop what Allah has written for you. And maybe, just maybe, He wanted to remind all of us that the story is not over. That the world may feel heavy, but Allah's plan is always moving in ways we cannot see. This is why it matters how we look at these moments. Because if we only see politics, we miss the point. If we only see strategy, we miss the point. If we only see people, we miss the point. Behind every story is Allah. Behind every rise is Allah. Behind every unexpected moment is Allah. And when we look with eyes of faith, our hearts begin to understand what our minds cannot. We begin to see purpose where the world sees coincidence. We begin to see hope where the world sees chaos. We begin to see direction where the world sees confusion. My dear listener, there is a beautiful thing that happens when a believer pays attention to the signs around them. They start to realize that Allah is always speaking to them, not with words, but with patterns, with timing, with small miracles that look ordinary if you don't look with the heart, a closed door that protected you, a disappointment that redirected you, a delay that taught you patience, a person who entered your life right when you needed them most. These are all signs, all messages, all reminders that Allah is near. So when something big happens in the world, something that touches the hearts of millions, something that makes you pause and think, don't ignore it, don't brush it aside. Maybe Allah is whispering something to you through it. Maybe He is telling you not to give up. Maybe He is telling you that truth still wins. Maybe He is telling you that sincerity still matters. Maybe He is telling you that your voice, your effort, your dua, none of it is too small for Him. And maybe He is telling you that you have your own role to play. It may not be on a stage. It may not be in public. It may not be in front of cameras. But it matters because every believer carries a part of the story. Every believer has a light to offer. Every believer has a responsibility to bring goodness into the world in whatever way they can. My dear brothers and sisters, I want you to feel this deeply. Allah never wastes your struggle. Never. Every tear, every prayer, every sincere intention, it is all recorded, it all matters. And sometimes Allah shows you someone else's victory so you can believe in your own. Not the same victory, not the same path, but the same help, the same mercy, the same protection. The same God who lifted him is the God who is watching over you right now. And this is why we reflect on moments like these. Not to praise a person, but to recognize the signs of the one who guides us all. And as we continue together, I want to take you even deeper into these lessons, into the emotional truth behind Allah's timing, and the spiritual wisdom behind the doors He opens and the doors He closes, so that your heart can hold these meanings with strength and clarity as we move forward. And as we go on, my dear brothers and sisters, I want you to lean in a little closer, because what comes next is not just about someone else's story, it is about your story. About the way Allah moves in your life when you feel lost, when you feel confused, when you feel like you're standing at a crossroads with no sign telling you where to go. Sometimes Allah shows us a victory in the world to wake something up inside us, to remind us that He is not distant, He is not silent, He is not ignoring the pain inside our chests. And I want you to remember that as we go deeper, because what I am about to say is something every heart needs to hear, whether young or old, whether strong or struggling. There is a moment in every believer's life when Allah whispers, "Come back to me," not in a dramatic, thunderous way. Sometimes it's soft, like a tug on the heart, like the feeling you get when you watch someone rise in a way that seems impossible, and something inside you says, this could be a sign for me too. That's the beauty of moments like these. They don't just show you what happened on a big stage, they show you what could happen in your own life if you turn back to the one who controls everything. Because no victory in the world is greater than the victory inside the heart. The victory of faith returning, hope returning, courage returning. And I want to tell you something that might surprise you. Do you know what brings a believer closest to Allah? It's not always long prayers or perfect rituals. Those are beautiful, yes. But sometimes it is simply feeling weak and turning to Him, feeling scared and turning to Him, feeling unsure and turning to Him, because Allah loves the heart that comes to Him in honesty. Even if it is trembling, even if it is messy, even if it is tired, there is a secret that our elders always knew: a broken heart in front of Allah is stronger than a proud heart in front of the world. And maybe that's one of the reasons Allah shows us people who rise from humble beginnings. It reminds us that the world does not reward arrogance the way people think. The world and the hearts of people respond to sincerity, softness, service, and truth. And Allah places acceptance for such people in the places where it matters. But I want you to look deeper now. Because sometimes Allah lets someone rise not to show us what they gained, but to show us what we lost. How how far we've drifted from relying on Him, how often we think change depends on humans instead of the Creator of humans, how many times we give our fears more power than our dua. And this is where I want you to pause with me for a moment. Ask yourself quietly, in the privacy of your hearts, where have I been placing my trust? In my job, my degree, my family, my own strength, my culture, my fear? Because the truth is, if your fear is bigger than your faith, you will always feel defeated even before the battle begins. But if your faith is bigger than your fear, then even small steps feel like mountains moving. I want to tell you a simple story. It's a story you've lived before, even if you never thought of it this way. Do you remember the first time you faced something terrifying, maybe a test, a decision, a heartbreak, a loss, and you thought you could never survive it? And yet, here you are, breathing, listening, living, growing. What got you through it? Was it your strength, your planning, your intelligence, or was it Allah quietly carrying you? That is the same unseen support behind every unexpected victory. The same hands that held you are the hands that raise whom He wills. And if Allah can raise someone in front of millions, what makes you think He cannot raise you in the privacy of your own home, in the privacy of your own soul? We forget sometimes that Allah sees our hidden battles, our unspoken prayers, our quiet tears, the nights we couldn't sleep, the moments we pretended to be strong. Allah sees it all, and He does not let these moments pass without placing something in return, sometimes in the form of strength, sometimes peace, sometimes guidance, and sometimes a door opening when everything seems shut. And I think that's why moments like the one we're talking about feel emotional to so many Muslims. It reminds them of the power they forgot they had, the power of dua. The power of tawakkul, the power of walking with Allah in a world that often pulls you away from Him. But I want to be honest with you, with love, with care, with truth. If Allah shows you something powerful, something inspiring, and your heart does not rise a little, if you don't feel even a small shift inside, then maybe you've been too far from Him for too long. And maybe He is calling you back right now, not with fear, not with guilt, not with pressure, but with invitation, with mercy, with a gentle hand reaching toward you saying, come closer to me, I have always been here. And this is where the urgency comes in, because we don't know how many more chances we will get. We don't know how many more reminders Allah will send before our hearts become numb, before we become too distracted, too tired, too busy chasing what doesn't last. So when Allah shows you a moment that wakes your spirit even a little, don't ignore it. Don't let it pass. Don't go back to sleep. Because Allah only wakes the heart that He wants to guide. My dear brothers and sisters, we need to talk about something deeper now, something many of us avoid. The truth is, not every victory looks like a public success. Some victories look like tears, some victories look like letting go, some victories look like getting back up after falling, some victories look like forgiving someone who hurt you, some victories look like walking away from a sin you loved, some victories look like choosing Allah when your desires pull you in the opposite direction. And these are the victories that Allah loves most because they are hidden, because they are sincere, because they come from the soul. And if Allah can give a public victory to someone who stood for justice, imagine what He can give to a person who stands for Him. Imagine what He can open for a woman who cries in sujood, begging Him for help. Imagine what He can write for a man who lowers his gaze out of fear of Him. Imagine what He can grant to a young person fighting their inner battles. Imagine what He can place in the heart of an elder who whispers His name before sleeping. These are the victories that shape the world even if no one sees them. And maybe that is what Allah wants you to understand, that the same God who lifts nations can lift you. The same God who changes societies can change your heart. The same God who turns a city toward justice can turn your life toward Him. And as we continue this journey together, I want to take you even deeper into these truths, into the patterns of Allah's mercy, into the moments of awakening, into the reasons He lifts some people and delays others, so that your own heart can learn how to rise in ways the world may never notice, but Allah always does. My dear brothers and sisters, as we continue together, I want to speak to you from a very raw place, a place inside the heart that aches for you, a place face that wishes you could see yourself the way Allah sees you. Not the way the world labels you, not the way your mistakes define you, not the way your past tries to chain you down, but the way Allah looks at a servant who turns back to Him even once with sincerity. Because wallahi, if you knew how much Allah loves the one who returns, you would run to Him with every breath. There are people listening right now carrying guilt in their chest like a stone. Maybe you wronged someone. Maybe you hurt someone you loved. Maybe you crossed a line you never thought you would cross. Maybe you abandoned a prayer here, a good habit there, until you felt too far gone to come back. And maybe the shame became so heavy that you stopped believing Allah could forgive you. But let me tell you something with a heart that trembles as I say it. The only time you are truly lost is when you stop turning back to Allah. As long as you turn back, even with tears, even with trembling, even with weakness, you are not lost. You are held, you are guided, you are seen. And I want you to hear this deeply. Allah doesn't love perfect people. He loves sincere people. People who break but return. People who fall but rise again. People who sin, but don't let their sins cut them off from Him. That's why Allah keeps giving us signs. That's why He shows us victories, lessons, reminders, because He wants you to remember Him. He wants you to soften. He wants you to come home. But to come home, you have to let go of something heavy, unforgiveness, not just forgiving others, forgiving yourself. Some of you have been carrying anger for years, anger toward a parent, toward a sibling, toward a friend, toward a spouse, anger toward someone who betrayed you, someone who abandoned you, someone who broke your trust, someone who hurt you in a way you still cannot put into words. And I'm not here to dismiss your pain. Your pain is real, it matters, Allah sees it, Allah recorded every tear. But I want you to understand something that could change your entire life. Forgiveness is not a favor you give to the other person. Forgiveness is a gift you give to your own soul. Because when you hold on to anger, it poisons your heart. It hardens you. It steals your peace. It makes your dua feel heavy. It closes your chest. It becomes a chain you drag everywhere you go. And as long as you hold that chain, you cannot rise. My dear friend, how can Allah fill your heart with light when it is already filled with fire? How can Allah pour peace into a cup already full of bitterness? How can you walk toward the future when your feet are tied to the past? Forgiveness doesn't mean what happened was okay. It doesn't mean the person was right. It doesn't mean you have to trust them again. It simply means you refuse to let their actions control your heart anymore. It means you hand your pain over to Allah and say, Ya Allah, you judge, you heal, you take care of them and take care of me. And when you say that, something in the unseen begins to shift. Your heart begins to breathe again. Your chest becomes lighter. Your life opens up in ways you did not expect. But forgiveness is only one part. The deeper part, the part that heals the heart, is repentance. Some of you listening right now have a sin you're ashamed of, a habit you hide, a weakness you can't admit out loud, and you think that because of it, Allah doesn't want you anymore. You think your sin has made you unworthy. But I want to tell you something that might break you open with relief. Sometimes the person who sins and repents becomes closer to Allah than the one who never sinned, because their heart becomes softer, their tears become sincere, their du'as become real, their humility becomes deep. And Allah loves a humble heart far more than a proud one. Repentance is not complicated. It is not a ceremony. It is not a long process. It is a conversation. You simply sit quietly, lower your head and say, Ya Allah, I messed up. I'm sorry. Help me be better. Don't leave me to myself. That's it. That moment alone can wipe away years of darkness, because Allah does not count how many times you fell. He counts how many times you returned, and He loves the one who returns. So please, my dear brothers and sisters, don't run from Him. Don't let your shame silence you. Don't let the whispers of shaitan convince you that you're too far gone. You are not too far gone. You are one sincere tear away from a new beginning. That's the real victory, not the victory the world sees, the victory the angels witness, the victory your heart feels, the victory of choosing Allah over your pride, your pain, your ego, your past. But to reach that victory, you need something more. You need trust. Trust in Allah's timing. Trust in His mercy. Trust in His wisdom. Trust in His plan for you, even when His plan hurts at first. Sometimes Allah takes something away because it was hurting you more than healing you. Sometimes he closes a door because it was leading you to darkness. Sometimes he delays a blessing because your heart wasn't ready to hold it. Sometimes he shakes your life because you were becoming too comfortable far from him. And sometimes he breaks your heart to rebuild it with him at the center. That is the kind of trust Allah wants from you. The kind that whispers, I don't understand, but I know you love me, and that is enough. If you learn to trust Allah like that, you will never lose. Not in this life, not in the next. Because the believer who trusts Allah walks with a light that nothing in this world can dim. And maybe that is why Allah is touching your heart right now, because He wants you to wake up, to rise, to soften, to let go, to return, to trust, to take one small step back toward Him, even if it feels fragile, because Allah meets you wherever you turn to Him. Even if you take only one step, walking slowly with tears in your eyes, carrying years of wounds. And as we go deeper into this journey together, I want to take you further into that trust, into the way Allah rebuilds a heart, into the way He rewrites a destiny, and into the way He transforms a life when a believer finally turns back to Him with sincerity and hope. My dear friend, as we continue together, I want you to know that what I'm about to say comes from a place of deep love for you, a place where the heart speaks softly but firmly, because the truths we are touching now, they are the kind that can change a life forever. They are the kind that stay with a person long after the room grows quiet and the world goes back to its noise. And I want to begin this final part by reminding you of something simple but heavy with meaning. Are closer to Allah right now than you think, even if you feel far, even if you feel tired, even if you feel broken. Distance from Allah is not measured by how you feel. It is measured by how much you turn back. And turning back is something you can decide in a single breath. You see, every journey we talked about, every test, every moment of confusion, every delay, every hardship, all of it was Allah opening a door that sometimes we don't recognize because it is wrapped in pain. But it is still a door. And when Allah opens a door, even if the whole world tries to shut it, they cannot. My friend, you are here because Allah wanted you here. You are listening because Allah wanted these words for you. And now He is inviting you to take one more step. Just one. A step of sincerity. A step of courage. A step of honesty with yourself. This is the moment you ask yourself, what am I holding in my heart that is stopping me from Him? Is it a wound? Is it a fear? Is it a sin I keep returning to? Is it a person I should have let go of long ago? Is it regret? Is it shame? Is it disappointment? Allah knows. And He has never once turned away from someone who walked toward Him carrying a broken heart. Sometimes we think Allah wants perfection, but He never asked for that. Never. What He asked for is effort. What He asked for is sincerity. What He asked for is that your heart tries even if it trembles. Do you know what Allah says about those who come back to Him? He says He loves them. Not just that He forgives them, not just that He accepts them, He loves them. Imagine that, the creator of the universe, the one who raised mountains, the one who spread the oceans, the one who controls the winds and the stars and the breath in your lungs. He loves the one who repents. He loves the one who cries to Him. He loves the one who admits, Ya Allah, I can't do this alone. And you don't have to, you never had to. My friend, I want you to forgive yourself today. I want you to stop punishing yourself for mistakes you already regret. Your guilt is a sign that your heart is alive, but guilt was never meant to be a prison. It was meant to be a doorway. Walk through it. And if there is someone in your life you need to forgive, then do it for your own soul. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Carrying anger is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to suffer. Let it go. Let Allah handle what you cannot. Let Allah take justice, because His justice is perfect and yours is not. And if there is someone you hurt, reach out, fix what you can, apologize, heal what's in your control, and whatever is beyond you, leave it to Allah. My friend, this world is moving fast. Every day passes like a whisper. And one day there will be a sunrise you don't see. One day the birds will sing and you won't hear. One day the people you love will wash your body, wrap you in white, pray over you, and lower you into the ground. And it will be you, alone with Allah. But that moment is not something to fear. Not for the one who lived trying. Not for the one who cried to Allah. Not for the one who made mistakes but kept getting up again. Not for the one who sincerely said, Ya Allah, I am yours. Because Allah never abandons a heart that leans on Him. So I'm asking you right now, close that chapter of fear. Close that chapter of hesitation. Close the chapter of thinking you are not worthy. Do you think Allah didn't know every one of your flaws when He made you? Do you think your sins surprised Him? Do you think your weakness was hidden from Him? He knew, and He still chose you for guidance. He still chose you to hear these words. He still chose you to rise. So rise. Rise from the place that hurt you. Rise from the mistakes that pulled you down. Rise from the shame that whispered you were too far. Rise from the darkness that told you Allah would never forgive you. Rise from the idea that you are alone. You are not alone. You were never alone. Every tear you cried was counted. Every silent prayer was heard. Every broken moment was witnessed by the most merciful. Hold your heart in both hands and offer it to Allah again. Say, Ya Allah, take what is left of me and make it better than it ever was. He will. He always does. He always replaces with something gentler, something purer, something more beautiful than what He took away. And now, as we come to this last breath of our journey together, I want to leave you with this final companionship of words. Words that I pray stay with you long after you leave this moment. You are stronger with Allah than you ever were on your own. You are braver with Allah than you ever believed. You are more capable than the world told you. And you are more loved by Allah than you can imagine. Walk forward with a heart that trusts even when it trembles. Walk forward with a soul that leans on Him even when it feels weak. Walk forward knowing that every step you take toward Allah, He takes more steps toward you. My dear friend, hold tight to your prayer, hold tight to your Quran, hold tight to your heart, hold tight to Allah, and let this be the moment you choose to live differently, love differently, trust differently. And may Allah make you among the people who rise again and again, no matter how many times life breaks them. May He fill your chest with peace, your path with light, your home with mercy, and your future with openings you never imagined. And may He make you someone whose life becomes a proof of His mercy, His strength, and His love. And may your story, like ZOHRAN Mamdani's victory, like the victories of so many others who chose Allah before choosing the world, become a reminder that when Allah writes a win for you, nothing on earth can undo it. Now, my friend, breathe, stand tall, and walk forward with Allah holding your heart.